In the stillness before dawn, when the stars linger like whispers of heaven, a dream unfolds, not born of chance, but of divine intent. A boy stands between youth and destiny, unknowing that the visions he beholds will one day rule nations. Sheaves bow, stars bend, light kneels before his spirit. And yet, beneath this wonder, envy begins to stir, for favor, when seen through human eyes, can look like injustice. The hearts of brothers, once bound by love, begin to fray in silence. And though the boy wakes trembling, filled with awe, he cannot fathom that his dream will summon both betrayal and glory. In the hush of the desert wind, heaven begins to write its secret, that every pit, every chain, every tear is but the path to a throne unseen. Morning gilds the hills of Canaan, yet peace does not rise with the light. The sheep graze, the air hums with cicadas, but among the brothers, silence reigns. Their glances, once familiar, are edged now with judgment. The dreamer moves among them, kind, unguarded, unaware. Each thread of his robe gleams like a reminder of love, unevenly given, of favor too freely shown. What was once laughter between them has become restraint, and though Joseph smiles, the sky feels heavy. Beneath the calm of morning, betrayal quietly begins its breath. Days drift like dust through open hands. Distance grows not only between tents, but between hearts. When Jacob calls Joseph to him, his voice carries the weight of trust. Go, see if all is well with your brothers. The boy departs with eagerness, believing obedience is love, and love is safety. The hills stretch before him like the future, bright yet treacherous. The journey will change him. The road from Hebron to Dothan, lined with stones and heat, will be his first step into the unknown designs of heaven. When the brothers see him from afar, the old jealousy rekindles like dry straw to flame. Behold, the dreamer comes. One whispers, and the words catch fire among them. The horizon burns gold, but within them burns darker. They speak of ending him, of silencing dreams that make them small. The robe gleams nearer, a wound to their pride. Shadows lengthen, footsteps quicken. The moment breaks like glass. A struggle, a cry, the dust rising as the boy falls into the pit. Above, the brothers stand, their faces carved in conflict as heaven watches in silence. Time hangs still as the brothers sit beside the pit, their breaths shallow, their thoughts louder than speech. A caravan approaches, the rhythmic jingle of harnesses, the scent of myrrh and spice. The Ishmaelites come like fate itself, drawn by the hand of God. Let us not kill him, one says, for his blood will cry against us. The exchange is made in silver and shame. Bound hands, silent tears. The boy is lifted from the pit, not to freedom but to purpose. As the caravan fades into the horizon, the brothers turn away, and the wind erases their footprints, but not their guilt. The sands of Egypt rise in shimmering waves, and with them, a new chapter begins. The boy who once dreamed beneath Canaan's stars now walks among the marble shadows of Pharaoh's land. The language, the people, the gods, all foreign, all vast. Yet the same divine pulse beats within him. Sold as property, stripped of freedom, he carries dignity as his last possession. The air smells of incense and empire, of stone carved with power. But heaven is not silent. In every task, unseen favor moves through his hands. Where others see a slave, God sees a ruler being forged in humility's fire. Days become months, and the rhythm of servitude becomes the rhythm of excellence. Every task Joseph touches prospers. The household thrives under his care. Even the air seems lighter where he walks. Potiphar watches, silent but discerning. In the heart of Egypt's order, a Hebrew slave becomes a trusted steward. Wisdom, not birth, commands respect. Yet, while the house blooms, unseen eyes begin to linger. For light, when it shines too brightly, cannot help but cast a shadow. In the cool chambers of Potiphar's estate, temptation finds its voice. She moves like perfume, unseen, pervasive. Her words are soft, her eyes sharper than any blade. The servant she watches is young, strong, and different. His virtue, both his armor and his snare. Day by day, her admiration turns to hunger. Yet Joseph stands firm, refusing to betray the trust placed upon him. The battle is not with her. It is with the very nature of power, pride, and desire. In the silence of his heart, he chooses righteousness over ruin. One day, the house falls silent. The servants are gone, the halls echo hollow. She seizes her moment. Her hand grips his robe. His heart pounds with fear and integrity entwined. He tears himself away, the garment ripping like thunder between them. Desire turns to fury. Rejection becomes accusation. By the time Potiphar returns, the trap is sprung. The robe, once a symbol of favor, now lies in her grasp as evidence. Truth is bound, and lies take its throne. When Potiphar's eyes meet Joseph's, silence fills the room thicker than any cry. The truth flickers there, unspoken yet known. He cannot defy the whispers of his household, nor can he condemn the man his heart knows innocent. So he sends him away, not to death, but to darkness. Chains return, colder this time. Yet even in the clatter of iron and the scent of stone, a quiet promise breathes. The dungeon of man is but the workshop of God. And though the world sees a prisoner, heaven sees the making of a king. Darkness replaces sunlight, but not hope. The air of the prison is thick with damp stone and silence, yet within its shadows, purpose stirs. Joseph's chains may bind his hands, but not his spirit. The boy of dreams has become a man of endurance. The walls echo with groans and prayers, despair and defiance. A kingdom of the forgotten. And there, in the midst of hopeless men, Joseph serves, comforts, and listens. Each act of kindness, unseen by men, resounds in heaven's courts. For even in the pit, the dreamer still dreams, and his faith becomes a quiet fire, lighting the dark. Days blur into nights without measure. Yet among the captives, two new faces arrive. Men once honored in Pharaoh's palace, now cast down by his wrath. The cupbearer and the baker, bound by the same fate, join Joseph's cell. They speak little at first, pride shielding pain, but Joseph, patient and gentle, sees beyond their silence. For in their eyes he recognizes his own reflection, those who fell by hands they trusted. In the depths of injustice he finds his ministry, becoming comfort to the brokenhearted. One restless night, the silence breaks with fear. The two prisoners awake trembling, haunted by visions they cannot understand. Joseph approaches, his voice calm, his presence steady. "Do not interpretations belong to God?" he says. In the hollow of the dungeon, faith speaks through him. The cupbearer's dream is of restoration, the baker's of judgment. As Joseph interprets, time seems to pause. Heaven whispers through mortal words. In that moment, the prisoner becomes a prophet, and despair bows before divine wisdom. Days pass and the dreams unfold exactly as spoken. The cupbearer is restored to his place. The baker meets his end. The prison murmurs with awe. Yet Joseph remains humble. His only request simple: "Remember me." But memory fades quickly in the halls of power. As the cupbearer departs, Joseph watches the door close behind him, hope flickering like a dying flame. Still he prays, believing even forgotten promises are not lost in heaven's timing. Seasons turn. The sun rises and falls upon the same walls, the same cold stone. The world above forgets, but heaven remembers. Joseph ages quietly, strength carved by endurance, faith refined like gold in fire. Though men forget his name, God writes it in light. The dungeon, once a place of loss, becomes a sanctuary of waiting. And in that waiting, destiny matures. For the next door that opens will not lead to despair. It will lead to the throne. Night settles over Egypt like velvet ink upon gold. Pharaoh's palace lies in stillness, but his sleep is shattered by visions that claw at his soul. Cows rise from the Nile, sleek, radiant, and fat, only to be devoured by 7 gaunt beasts born from shadow. Then ears of corn, ripe and full, wither before stalks twisted and dry. He awakens, drenched in fear. Not even the wisdom of his priests, nor the counsel of his magicians can pierce the riddle. The kingdom trembles in uncertainty, for when Pharaoh's dreams turn to dread, all Egypt holds its breath. Morning finds the palace in frenzy. The court magicians whisper, the priests debate, but none can speak the language of the dream. Then, from the corner of the hall, a voice long silent remembers. The cupbearer, humbled by memory, speaks of a Hebrew in prison who read dreams as though heaven itself whispered through him. Hope stirs in Pharaoh's eyes, not hope in man, but in the God behind the mystery. And so the word is given. Bring him forth from the dungeon. The iron door creaks open and light spills into the dungeon. Joseph rises slowly, eyes narrowing against the brilliance. Years have carved wisdom into his youth. He is bathed, shaven, robed in linen, the marks of shame stripped away. As he steps into Pharaoh's court, the whispers fall silent. The contrast is divine. The slave stands before the sovereign. Yet, there is no fear, only serenity. For Joseph has learned that power belongs not to kings, but to the God who speaks through dreams. The dream unfolds once more, the river, the cattle, the grain. And Joseph listens still as dawn. Then his voice rises not in arrogance but in revelation. It is not in me, he says, but God shall give Pharaoh an answer of peace. The court leans in, their faces caught between awe and disbelief. 7 years of plenty, followed by 7 of famine, the decree of heaven spoken in mortal halls. Pharaoh's heart steadies. The fear dissolves. In a single moment, truth eclipses doubt, and the slave becomes the mouthpiece of eternity. Silence follows Joseph's final word, deep, sacred, complete. Then Pharaoh rises, his expression transformed. Can we find such a man as this, in whom is the Spirit of God? He declares. In a single breath, Joseph is lifted from the depths to the heights. The chains that once scarred his wrists are replaced with gold. The dust of prison gives way to the splendor of command. A chariot waits outside. The people bow as he passes. And somewhere far beyond the desert's edge, the dreams of a 17-year-old boy awaken at last. The years of plenty roll through Egypt like rivers of gold, storehouses bursting, granaries filled, laughter echoing across the land. Then, as the prophecy foretold, the fields fall silent, the earth cracks, the rivers retreat. From Canaan to Cush, famine devours the green. Egypt alone stands ready, its barns heavy with heaven's foresight. And far away, in a land of dust and hunger, a father looks to his sons. Go, Jacob says, his voice trembling with age, and buy grain that we may live. What began as jealousy will now return as supplication. The wheel of Providence turning full circle. Across deserts they travel, 10 men burdened with memory and grain sacks of hope. The wind bites, the sun burns, yet no pain compares to the one they carry within. Egypt rises from the horizon like a dream of stone and gold, its temples glittering under the relentless light. At the gates they bow low before a ruler they do not recognize. His eyes are sharp, his speech foreign, his bearing regal, yet something in his voice stirs the ashes of remembrance. The dream has come to life, and they kneel before it, unaware. When Joseph sees them, the world tilts, time collapses. Faces from his youth, ghosts from the pit, stand bowed before him. His heart races, his breath falters, yet his voice is calm, his mask firm. "Where do you come from?" he demands, his tone foreign, his eyes piercing. They answer, trembling, unaware that the judge before them is the boy they once condemned. Inside him, compassion wars with justice. The years of pain whisper, but mercy holds his hand. He sends them away with grain, and with a secret test of the soul. That night, Joseph's heart aches with the pull of memory. He tests them, accusing them of espionage, demanding proof of honesty. "Bring your youngest brother," he commands, his words cold, his soul trembling. He hears their whispers, the regret, the confession, and turns away to hide his tears. The man who governs Egypt weeps in secret, for the boy within him still remembers the pit, the pain, the faces that once turned away. Mercy must wait. Truth must ripen. At dawn, the brothers depart, their sacks filled with grain and their hearts heavy. But within their burden, Joseph hides a gift, their silver returned. It is not vengeance, but a mirror for their souls. When they discover it, fear seizes them, guilt consumes them anew. In Canaan, Jacob weeps, torn between relief and dread. The wheels of Providence turn unseen, each act, each tear, leading them back to Egypt, back to reconciliation written before time began. The famine deepens. The fields of Canaan yield nothing but dust. Jacob's eyes, dim with sorrow, turn to his sons once more. "Take Benjamin," he pleads, "and go again to Egypt." Fear tightens their hearts, for the memory of their last journey still burns. Yet hunger leaves no choice. Across the sands they travel again, carrying silver, gifts, and trembling hope. In Egypt, Joseph watches their return from the palace steps, his heart both rejoicing and breaking. The sight of Benjamin, the brother of his mother's womb, awakens a tenderness too deep for words. Destiny is gathering all its threads for revelation. The banquet unfolds with grandeur beyond imagination. Joseph welcomes them with warmth they cannot comprehend. Laughter fills the chamber, wine flows like forgiveness withheld. Yet beneath the music and abundance, a quiet plan takes root. Joseph watches Benjamin, his eyes, his smile, his gestures. Each one a memory reborn. He orders the feast arranged, seating the brothers from eldest to youngest, and they marvel. In his heart, Joseph tests what time could not erase, whether envy still dwells among them or if grace has found its home. Morning brings departure, and the final test. Joseph commands his steward, "Fill the men's sacks with grain, and place my silver cup in the youngest's." The order is carried out with precision. As the caravan departs, peace rides with them only for a moment. Then hoofbeats thunder behind. Soldiers in pursuit. When the cup is found in Benjamin's bag, despair erupts. The brothers fall to their knees, torn between disbelief and doom. What once was jealousy now becomes devotion, for they will not abandon another brother to slavery. Dragged back into Joseph's presence, the brothers bow low, trembling. This is not judgment from man. It is the reflection of every hidden deed. Joseph's eyes search their faces. They are no longer the same men who once cast him away. Then Judah steps forward, voice shaking, soul laid bare. He speaks of their father's grief, of a promise made, of love regained through pain. Take me instead, he pleads, for I cannot watch my father die of sorrow. In that moment, the heart of Egypt's ruler breaks. Not with power, but with love. The dam of restraint breaks. Joseph sends all others away, and the room fills with the sound of his weeping, deep, raw, uncontrollable. The brothers tremble, unsure whether to flee or fall. Then, through tears, words are spoken that heal centuries. I am Joseph. Is my father still alive? Silence falls like grace. Their fear melts into awe as he embraces Benjamin, the past dissolving in the flood of forgiveness. What began with betrayal ends with mercy. A divine circle closed by love. News travels like fire through the corridors of Pharaoh's palace. Joseph's family lives. The ruler of Egypt, once a slave, falls to his knees in gratitude. Pharaoh himself commands that chariots be sent, that the best of Egypt carry his father and kin home. Far away, in Canaan's weary hills, hope flickers in an old man's chest. The son, thought dead, is alive. The famine's sorrow fades before the promise of reunion. From every corner of the desert, dust rises like incense as Israel's household journeys toward the land of Goshen, where forgiveness will plant its roots in fertile soil. The sound of wheels and hooves rolls through the valleys of Canaan. An old man waits by his tent, his eyes dim but heart awake. Then the dust clears, and he sees him, the son of his sorrow, now robed in the majesty of nations. Their embrace is not of years lost, but of hearts restored. Jacob weeps upon Joseph's neck, and Joseph holds him as if time itself could stop. In that sacred moment, pain and purpose become one. What was broken is whole. What was taken is returned. Days pass and joy fills Goshen's fields. The house of Israel settles under Joseph's care, their tents standing strong beside Egypt's canals. Where famine once ruled, laughter now reigns. Joseph walks among his people, his children beside him, his heart finally at peace. The God who led him through pits and prisons has turned every sorrow to purpose. The land of exile has become a home, not of bondage, but of blessing. As Jacob's years draw to a close, he blesses his sons, one by one, name by name, tribe by tribe. His voice, once strong, trembles with eternity. The Lord who has been my shepherd all my life long, bless thee. He whispers to Joseph. In his final breath, he speaks not of loss, but of faith, that the same God who turned grief into glory will lead them home again. When the old man's eyes close, Joseph weeps softly, knowing death is not an end, but a return. When the years have passed and Joseph's hair turns to silver, he stands once more upon Egypt's balcony, gazing toward Canaan's distant hills. The memories remain, the pit, the chains, the prison, the dreams, all now threads of divine tapestry. He whispers to the wind, "You meant evil against me, but God meant it for good." Peace settles upon him like the evening sun. The story that began in betrayal ends in grace, a testament to a God who turns pain into promise and dreams into deliverance.